Okay, welcome to the Board of Adjustment meeting. At this time, Mr. Noble's going to fill in for our chair, and we have to have 3 members to have quorum, and we're waiting on our third one. We haven't been advised that she wasn't going to attend, so we're just going to wait a few moments. And I'll let the chair.
Yep. And I'll just ask staff, how long should we wait until? It's up to the chair, great.
Check in about 5 minutes or so.
Okay. So right now, we'll start the meeting at 1:35,
We don't have quorum.
if we have a quorum.
I didn't get anything.
So our third member did show up, and so we will have a quorum. I do want to mention that due to the fact that there is just 3 people here today, all of the votes will have to be unanimous.
We have a question on, sorry. We have a question on case number 9. Is the applicant here for that case? Can she talk to you up here? April 3rd, okay.
It's 1:37, and we have a quorum, so I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to the City of Oklahoma City Board of Adjustments meeting for March 20th, 2025. For anyone wishing to be heard today besides the applicant, please fill out a white sheet found at the front desk at the doors and get it to a member of the staff. The process for today's meeting will be as follows. Ms. Lakin will call the case number. The applicant or their representative will be recognized to come to the podium, give a brief description of the case. We will then recognize any supporters or protestants who signed up to speak. They will be given 3 minutes each to express their views. For anyone who is at the podium, please start with your name and address for the record. So,
Call the first case.
the-
The clerk will call the first case. The clerk will call the first case.
yeah, and the clerk will call the first case. Number 2,
Receive the minutes.
yeah, number 2 to receive the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we receive the minutes from the March 6, 2025 meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the motion passes. Number 3, requests for continuous requests or withdrawals.
Okay, we have item number 18, case number 15858 is deferred till April 3rd. And item number 17, case number 15870 has been withdrawn. And I have a new request, item number 9, case number 15867 is continued till April 3rd.
Going to get a motion on the continuous request?
I'll make a motion to grant the continuance request as read.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And the vote passes. Continuous request from the public, which we have a request for case number 9. I just make a separate vote.
I thought you just voted on it.
Well,
Third.
I didn't know if we needed a second vote for the new continuance. No?
It's already continued to April.
Okay.
Hey, Sarah Welch, Planning Department, just for the record of what's happening, we expect we lose quorum. It takes 3 votes, as the chair mentioned. We expect to lose quorum on item number 9. Therefore, we're requesting that item be continued. If you're here to speak on that item, it'll be continued until April 3rd. And I believe that the clerk included that in the previous motion.
Okay. With that, we can start the public hearing. Call the first case.
Okay, item number 1, case number 15851 is an application for a special exception by LaDonna Hosley to operate a child care center located at 2100 Northwest 43rd Street.
Hello, my name is LaDana Hasley, and my address is 2100 Northwest 43rd Street. And I have the proposal. And to ensure a smooth and safe pickup and drop-off process with minimum congestion, we propose a staggered schedule with 15-minute intervals to prevent traffic buildup. Vehicles will follow a one-way traffic flow entering from West I-44 Service Road and making a right on North Barnes and exiting on North Penn, with clear directional signs and curbside assistance from staff to keep cars moving. Parents will remain in their cars, and a designated waiting zone will prevent backups onto the main road. And then if we need additional, if additional parking is needed, we arrange overflow parking at the nearby park in the neighborhood.
Any questions?
Is there anybody signed up to speak on this?
No one signed up to speak. Anyone from the audience need to speak on this, wishing to speak on this item?
Mr. Chair, I do have one question. I did,
I'm sorry.
make sure, I did read through everything, and I was just unclear on how many children are you actually planning to have? Is it 12?
Yes.
25 or
It will be 25.
25? Okay. Thank you.
And
In the application, it does state that the license was approved on April 30th, 2024 for 12.
for 12, yes.
Yes.
That's what I'm approved for at the moment.
You're approved for 12 at the moment?
Yeah,
Okay,
for
'cause I
12
saw
children.
3 different numbers
Right, I saw-
in here.
me too.
That's why I wanted to just clarify. Thank you.
Okay. And I also, I don't know if you guys want to see this, I also have a drop-off policy that I will have the parents to sign.
We have it
If you wanna-
in the packet. We do have a copy of that in the packet.
Okay.
Well, not actually.
I don't
the-
think
the
I submitted a
application.
copy
Yeah,
of this one.
Oh,
yeah.
that's,
But we do have the drop-off plan,
Okay.
so.
Do you have, were you able to get with the city in terms of verifying whether or not that they would have any more specific parking requirements for you?
No, sir.
But
And you said,
Go ahead.
get with them on,
Well, if I recall correctly, I thought that, I know that parking was the essential issue,
Yeah.
but we were concerned about the use and if the city would have parking requirements for you to meet.
the city will have any parking requirements. Only thing the requirements was for the city is that I have a handicap parking spot available.
So,
That's,
But in the permitting department, they never mentioned how many spots you had to have available plus the handicap spot.
just as long as I have a handicap parking spot and then one extra spot for parking.
okay, so you got with DHS, they've come out to the site and they've said that they're going to allow 25 children
Yes, sir.
to be here on the site. But you still have to have a change of use, correct?
Yes.
Now, you've not started that process for the change of use?
I have started the process.
And where are you at currently in it?
And the process,
Yes.
I'm here and I have to be approved first before I can go any further.
You have to get approval from us before you can get.
Yes.
So I would approve the application subject to a change of, permitting, granting change of use and verifying that the site can meet the conditions that they would have.
is that a motion?
It can be if you.
If you in agreement with that?
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve case number 15851 with the conditions that the applicant obtain a change of use and is able to meet all of the requirements by permitting.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And you're approved.
Okay, thank you.
Item number 2, case number 15869, is a request of Alexandra Speed on behalf of Billy Martin and Sherry Atkins for a variance to the minimum lot size in the AA district located at 13608 South Dobbs Road.
Hello, I'm Alexandra Speed on behalf of the applicant. As stated, we are seeking a variance to the minimum lot size of 5 acres in the agricultural AA district of 13608 South Dobbs Road. This property was originally surveyed in 1972 as being 5.11 acres, and then we resurveyed in 2019, and without any land being taken or lost, the survey came out to 4.96 acres. So we're seeking a variance for the 0.04 that no longer fits into the agricultural district acre minimum.
And for the record, could you state your name and address again?
Oh, yes. Alexandra Speed on behalf of the applicants, Billy Martin and Sherry Adkins, address 13608 South Dobbs Road.
Any questions?
Does anybody sign up?
No one
to speak
signed
on
up
it?
to speak. Is anyone here to speak on this case?
I'm familiar with this site. This whole area has a very unique history. I grew up playing out here a lot, and so it doesn't surprise me that there was a surveying snafu. That'd be the least crazy thing out there. So I don't have any problem with it. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve case number 15869 on the basis that it meets the requirements for variance.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 3, case number 15878, is a request of Box Law Group for a variance to the rear and side yard setback located at 4535 Northwest 63rd Street.
Good afternoon, Caitlin Turner, 525 Northwest 11th Street, here on behalf of the applicant. So while those are getting passed around, the requested variance here today is to the 15-foot setback from the north and west of the property. The proposed development is for personal storage. There's residential to the north and the west, meaning we have to have that 15 feet. There was a 30-foot platted service road that was partially vacated in 1977. Unclear as to why the full thing was not vacated, but somehow a little 5-foot strip was basically left over from that action. This was brought to the property owner's attention upon applying for permits. So here before you today to seek a variance. The exhibit you're seeing is to illustrate that although we do need this variance, we are still achieving 15 feet from the north and the west. So there's an existing fence that was built by a previous property owner around the boundary of what you all see before you. There's then, you can see that 5-foot green strip. That's what was left over from that partial vacation action back in 1977. You then get the minimum 5-foot landscape buffer before you get to the actual building line on the north and west. So purpose of this is to just show you that the intent of the purpose is absolutely still there. We still have a 15-foot separation, and we believe this is actually much more compatible and kind of works with that residential to the north and the west than what was historically there, which I don't know if you all had a Google, yeah, you can see it there, but lots of issues. It's been significantly cleaned up since then. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have. We did receive a protest letter. I did send this exhibit and tried to make contact with the protester, followed up, have not heard back, but again, I think there's just confusion that this exhibit helps to illustrate where we do still have 15 feet between our building line and that existing fence line.
And I don't have anyone signed up to speak, but is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this?
I'm a protester, and I did submit a response. I don't know if you all had a chance.
Yeah, come forward.
Okay. So one of the biggest.
Can you start with your
I'm
name
so
and
sorry.
address?
My name is Tammy Propek Beatty. I am the resident and owner of the property to the north. I am the only neighboring property to the north of what you see squared there. Yes. So, yes, I did receive your email and I appreciate it. It's very much pared down from the original plan. It still doesn't quite answer my questions. But the reason that I am protesting is, one, these site plans were developed in October, and it's clear that there was no intent to ever follow the code. And so that's my first concern. I mean, and they've already started building. They've demolished everything. They've got a retaining wall already dug. I think they've got a fire hydrant in place. They've laid some concrete on the middle facilities, the units at this point. So they've been working on it, just fully anticipating that they weren't going to follow the code at all. I don't know if that is business as usual, because it's not my expertise, but that was something that I noted that really got me going and looking into what this was. So my biggest concern too is that in they're saying this is a hardship. It's a hardship of their own creating. And we measure interpretation and application of this code in Chapter 59 to be we want the code to promote public health, safety, comfort, convenience, order, and general welfare. And having a large facility, storage facility, in essence, is creating multiple neighbors, not just maybe a few that you back into. So you're dealing with additional traffic, additional noise. It looks like they're probably going to have some temperature-controlled units, and so is there possibly going to be some HVAC noise that we're going to be hearing as well? They're saying that they're going to build 15 feet back from that fence line, but what I believe the code states is that there should be a 5-foot buffer landscape plus a 15 setback beyond that. This fence line that they have listed here says that this is 6 foot to the north, 6-foot site-proof wood fence. There is no 6-foot fence at my property anymore because when Cannabless built their fence, it is an 8-foot fence, and it is set 2 feet further to the south now. There are to the west some neighbors that still have their original 6-foot fence up, but it is some portions they have it up, and therefore it's sandwiched between an 8-foot and a 6-foot fence. And so the utilities are actually sandwiched between two fences. It has always been a benefit. I don't know exactly. She said there's 5 foot left of that platted road. I don't know for sure. I'll just take her word for it. But many utility companies have had to access those overhead lines that run on the north and all the way down to the west, heading to the south, multiple times a year. There's always something. There's cable up there. There's fiber. There's electrical. And there's always a problem on those lines, and the big trucks need to access them, and they've always had access, so that will be a reduction for the utility companies. That's their word, that they have access, and this is an alleyway. And so when we talk about the fence, it's 2 feet. I was told it was built on the previous owner's property, and what I'm seeing here is that 5 feet of road is actually easement. So I don't know how a road was ever there. I don't know when the utilities were placed. I'm assuming when the homes were built. Mine was built in 1960. My biggest concern is for public health, safety, and comfort. Safety being any additional footage that this facility can be set back would be a benefit to the residents, especially for fire safety. There is a property that you can actually see that neighbors on the northeast corner. You see the parking lot, which is the north, and the next one northeast, it's got a blue roof on it. That actually had a fire in their back property with vagrants, alleged vagrants, who set fire back there. And although the fire department is actually just up Meridian by the lake there, just maybe a mile away, they were on other calls, and it took well over 15 minutes for them to respond, and we all sat thinking, is the fence line going to catch fire? Is it going to come down our lines? And so safety, comfort, that's what I believe the code, as it states here, is the purpose. And I think this plan does not hold up the spirit or the purpose of the code.
Okay. Thank
I've got a
you.
question. You said, are you saying that the north fence line is on the residential, is encroaching on the residential lot north, your property?
No,
No,
it's
what I-
on the,
What I'm saying is not a 6-foot fence, so that's why I don't know about this drawing. The 8-foot fence that exists on the north, there's no 6-foot fence anymore on the north, only 8.
For the whole north?
That was allegedly built on the applicant's property by the prior owner.
so they held it inside the property line to build the fence?
I mean, that's what they said. Cannabless
Yeah.
we didn't ask for
Right.
documentation, but they came around to every owner and they said, we're going to put up this large privacy fence. And they needed to, because it's my understanding by law, they have to have a secure business because they were growing marijuana. And so it did make sense that they would build it on their property because they required it. And so some of us who had partial disrepair fences, we went ahead and took them down. But it was only about 2 to 3 feet back is where the original 6-foot fence was. Whether, again, that's, my property line, I can't establish that at this time. We're just hoping to push back business as far as we can.
Okay, thanks. And what I'll do is I'll ask the applicant to come up and answer the questions that you have.
Okay.
Okay, so to unpack some of that, first and foremost, the original survey that the current property owners had didn't show the less than except 5 feet for where that vacation action was incomplete. So that was kind of the reason for the plan being created and permits being submitted based on that original survey. Upon receiving comments back from plan review and getting a new Alta survey, that's where the 5 feet that remained unvacated appeared. The fence that we're referring to, I believe that's just a typo. That's the existing fence that's there today that the previous owner did install, so that's not being touched. That's gonna stay there. Apologies if there's the typo there, but it's gonna be existing 8-foot site-proof wooden fence. And then again, you have the 5 feet from the platted service road, landscape buffer, 10-foot building line that we can agree to. And it's not for the entirety of that north, but you can see there on the exhibit. With us being able to have that 15 feet, of course, we're still going to be meeting all applicable code requirements as it pertains to commercial near residential. It's going to be whatever, fire is going to require, we will have to meet. Historically, with a use like storage, you see very little traffic, you see very little noise, you see very little, trips and just everyday, disturbances from, that's why personal storage you often see near a residential facility. It's already permitted by right, so that's not really the topic of conversation here today. But again, with us meeting that 15 feet, we don't really, unless you all have any comments to that effect, it appears that the intent and purpose of the ordinance is still very much in effect. And we, of course, will not be encroaching on any existing utility easements or lines that were referenced. Those will all stay as they are, so.
Could you mention the air conditioners, if they're conditioned?
Are they conditioned units? Some will be. Well,
Just regular furnaces and condensers, like you can see on home.
So some of the units will be air conditioned and will have that controlled, and it will be no different than units that you would see on a residential home.
Sarah, could you just explain the zoning requirement for this to be next to the R1 and what the distances have to be?
The C3, with the existing zoning is C3, and we're adjacent to R1, it's a 15-foot setback with a 5-foot landscape buffer within the 15. Within the 15.
Yes, within, that's correct.
And that clarifies a lot for me. So I guess, but it creates a little bit of confusion of why the variance is needed, because
The unvacated
It's the,
alley?
yeah, that's what
Okay.
it is. And I don't.
is that
that's-
because that pushes that boundary in since it's
Yes.
unvacated?
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. And it was also closed. I think that's also kind of where there was some confusion, is it was closed.
It's
way
100%
back.
closed, but not
But
100%
not,
vacated.
exactly. So technically, a portion of the property line is shifted down 5 feet.
And the utility will always have to have access anyway.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. No building that we are proposing would encroach on any existing utility easement. That would be,
Right. All the doors
to remove
are
it.
facing interior.
that's correct.
And even if we took out the issue with the easement not being vacated, it only changes it by 5 feet?
That's right. So then we wouldn't need to be seeking a variance.
So to be clear, if that had been properly vacated, you wouldn't even need
I
to
would
be
not
here?
be here right now, that's correct.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? I will say, the protestants' letter and questions and very well done. And give us the forethought to. Yeah.
I just want to, since we rediscussed the HVAC systems, the properties to the west side, those buildings are the ones that will have the HVACs. As you
Along-
see,
along the west-
there's doors that enter where the letter E is, that's all walkway to climate controlled. So there will be climate controlled units neighboring those homes to the west. So therefore, there would be some sort of HVAC unit.
On building D,
Building, well, it's that building there where the hand is and the one to, no, just that one. Nope, I'm sorry, the one to the north.
so A and E.
Yes. There, see the little triangles that stick out of the building to the right side? Those are doors. And then what you see there are hallways going in to different units. And they are on the east, but we're not discussing the east at this point. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention since we revisited HVACs.
And is your issue with the buildings that are on the west side or on that are south of you, that on their north side?
Well, that road that they're talking about is the yellow portion.
Yeah.
And so the same issue exists over there, is my understanding.
Right, it'll be 15 foot off of the
It's-
property line
yes.
or the easement.
Yeah.
So I think, one of the considerations would be that it's the air conditioner condensers outside and the fans and the noise.
Ultimately, yes.
But you understand their argument regarding their.
I think I do. I think they're saying that there's a vacated portion on their side. What I'm seeing, what I interpreted from the code is that there's two separate columns where it talks about 5-foot requirement for the landscape, and in another column, 15 setbacks. So it's as if it's two different things to make 20.
That's what he was just getting clarification
And
from.
that's
From
what,
staff.
Yeah,
that's how I read it.
Right.
Yes.
So the clarification is that the 5-foot landscape buffer is within the 15-foot setback.
Yes, that's what I heard.
So
Yeah.
just,
Can I ask the applicant's
You can ask me and then
representative? Yeah, okay.
so you can hear it.
So there is already a retaining wall built. So there is the fence line, the 8-foot fence, and then there's roughly about 5 feet, and then with dirt, backfilled with dirt, and then a retaining wall. I am curious if that is considered to be the landscape, or will there be 15 feet from that retaining wall going south and east? I have the drawing here, but it's just not clear to me. Because I don't see a size of, I don't see a measurement going from the fence line to the retaining wall.
So there will be the landscape buffer, then the retaining wall, then the 10 feet, and then the building line, if that makes sense. So the retaining wall will be.
Right on the
buffered.
edge of the landscape buffer.
Right, exactly.
Inside the 15-foot setback.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
The backfill dirt is the landscape.
It's not there yet. Landscape buffer is likely not installed at this point in time.
Sounds like to me that the landscape
This-
buffer would be east and south of the retaining wall.
North
North.
and east of the retaining wall. So the landscape buffer would buffer the retaining wall, and then you have the 10 feet and then the building line.
Which is already, it already exists then. It's
The
built.
retaining wall
There's
is
a
already in
retaining wall
place.
with backfilled 5 feet dirt to the 8-foot fence.
I'm not sure what the question is.
I
So
was
is
just
the,
asking, I was asking, is the dirt that's backfilled between the fence and the retaining wall, is that landscape and then it's 10 feet from there? Or is that just backfilled, we built a retaining wall and now we're gonna do landscape buffer followed by 10 feet to get the total 15?
Okay. Again, there's going to be the fence, and then there will be the landscape buffer, the retaining wall, and then the setback. Is that correct?
Actually,
If you want to
Come-
come
come
up
up.
here. Yeah. come up here.
Landscape buffer, retaining wall, fence. So she said it the opposite. I think that's what she's trying to figure out.
Okay. No worries. Apologies, clarification. So the retaining wall is going to be right on the side of the other side of the 5-foot, not yet vacated service road. So the retaining wall will be 5 feet from the existing fence, then the retaining wall, and then the landscape buffer. Does that make sense?
So the landscape buffer is from 10 to 15 foot inside the property line.
That's right, yes, that's
using,
correct.
using the fence as the boundary now,
Right,
coming in, you start your 5-foot landscape buffer.
yes, yeah,
10 foot in. And then the last 5 foot interior properties landscape buffer.
Okay, so the landscape buffer, the landscape buffer, out of the 15 feet, it's on the 5-foot that's closest to the subject property.
the landscape buffer, yes, it is gonna be right up against the
Buildings.
The building.
storage, the building,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Is that what you were?
Gives the building?
Here, this is what I had emailed, I'm just gonna, do you mind?
I am looking at it, yes.
Okay, so, I'm not sure.
Okay, I just know what is built there. There's a retaining wall, and there is dirt backfilled that fills back to the fence, which is approximately 5 feet. So I'm just wondering, is that the landscape? And then they're gonna do, so that 5 feet,
I mean, it'll be
And you're gonna-
landscape, it'll be grassed.
well,
It'll have
I
be
guess
turfed.
I don't, it's not a matter of, to me, what goes in the dirt. I'm just curious where the landscape starts, because if it starts at the retaining wall and they're gonna build, say, 10 feet out and then 5 feet landscape, or are they just gonna do 10 feet and the landscape's in there?
Right,
that's
so
where-
the first 5 foot from behind the buildings will be the landscape buffer. The next 10 is just going to be grass, turfed to the fence.
Drainage, I think, actually.
And it'll have 2 elevations, is what it sounds like.
Okay. I guess I don't understand why we lost 5 feet, because I believe from beyond the fence line is easement,
Well,
because there's overhead.
and
so that's like-
that's the issue. The reason that they're here is because if it was an easement, then they would be including that 5 feet. So that's what they're seeking a variance from, is basically they're going to use that 5 foot of space from that unvacated easement. And that's how they get 15. So you should have a total, if you disregard the easement altogether, you should have a total of 15 feet from that property line to the back of that building.
Okay,
And so what they're saying is there'll be that building, immediately north of that building will be a 5-foot landscape buffer, and then there'll just be 10 foot of drainage or however they use that space, and the last 10 feet to the north.
understood.
Does
Thank
that
you.
make-
It does.
Okay. Is that sufficient to you?
I don't think there's any other option, so yes.
Okay.
I understand, I understand.
Anything else from the board?
Got confused there for a second. Apologies. Happy to answer any other questions.
Good. With that, I will make a motion to approve case number 15878 on the basis that it meets the requirements for a variance.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes.
Item number 4, case number 15871 is a request of Robert Dill Encinos 3D Custom Products on behalf of OK Yukon Apartments LLC for a variance to sign regulations, 12600 Northwest 10th Street.
Good afternoon. My name's Bob Dale. My address, 9810 East 58th Street in Tulsa, 74146. And I'm talking on behalf of Trailwinds Apartment Homes. And this is a unique property. We're pretty big for an R4 zone. We have 25 acres, 32 buildings, 417 apartment units. We've got over 300 feet of street frontage on Northwest 10th Street in Yukon, and this is one of the busiest areas in town. There will be over 120,000 cars in front of this property this week. We're also surrounded by commercial and shopping centers and commercial businesses, which is a good thing, but it presents a challenge for us, and that's in getting the attention of the public's eye. Because of the busyness of the area, we need a sign on the building to differentiate us from other buildings, businesses in the area. And because the street is so busy, by the time you see us, you are on the driveway or the entry, or you're past the entry. So we really would like to have a monument sign out in front of in the grass to get attention from down the street. And that's where we need your help, because in this zoning for R4, we are only going to be allowed one sign. And we face the same limitations, even though we have 417 units, we face the same limitations as a property that has 35 units. And what we were hoping is that a variance would solve a real genuine hardship with visibility for us. Our design is gonna fit within the architecture of the area. We're not gonna stand out and because of the scale of the property, our signs are actually pretty modest in size. They're not going to create a precedent for other R4 zones. And we certainly are going to be, we'll keep the same intent with these signs as was intended to keep residential signage modest based on the size and scale. So for all these reasons, we would ask that you would grant us the opportunity to have a sign on the street.
Any questions from members? The only person that did sign up was Mr. Dial. Anyone from the audience wish to speak on this? No. I do know that prior to the new sign code coming into effect, that you would have been able to have the sign on the building and a monument sign. But some of the reason why they put the new sign code in was just for the sign clutter itself. So, thoughts?
Yeah, this is something that we've wrestled with a couple times now, trying to balance the line between adhering to the new sign code with also trying to be practical for owners. Do you have can you tell me when this project, can you tell me the date of the inception of this project, when you all had started it?
I'm sorry,
Have you, when did you guys start this project?
the construction, I think they've been working on it for about a year. Maybe less than a year.
Yeah. So my thoughts are similar to what we've been doing. I think we just try to gauge these the best we can and transition to being more strict in our approach to making sure that these adhere to the ordinance. But
Can I interject one thing? And that's that even when you're looking at that R4 zone, I can't say that it's been designed around a large property like this. And that really is the hardship that we are looked at and described as something that's, could be a small apartment complex in a residential area.
And it actually doesn't have that much frontage because there's a large commercial section
Yes,
that's
there's
gonna
a-
front it and block
yeah.
a lot of it.
Yeah,
So
we've got a little, well, it's still
about
over
100 feet.
300, but
Yeah.
you're right, it's a large property and you only see a portion of it.
yeah,
that's why the monument sign itself and then the rest on the building. I mean,
well,
good with it.
personally, I'm not looking at it from that technical of a standpoint as much as I want to acknowledge that you guys have been working on the project. The sign code became effective March 15th, 2024. You've been working on it for about a year. I don't want to be unfair in the application of that new code, given that you guys had already likely been in the process. So I'm for granting this variance with the understanding that as time goes on, we're going to eventually get to some of these that will have started after that sign code was already enacted, and it's my intention to try to follow that as close as we can.
Anything else? Ready for a motion?
Okay. With that, I will make a motion to approve case number 15871 for a variance on the basis that it meets the requirements for a variance.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes.
Thank you very much.
Item number 5, case number 15872 is a request of Beacon Leasing LLC for a variance to the front yard setback and platted building line in the R2 district located at 7624 Wildflower Way.
One more time, Caitlin Turner, 525 Northwest 11th Street, on behalf of the applicant. So this is actually an existing duplex structure. As you can see, I think this is a fantastic illustration that shows how dramatic that cul-de-sac is going around. That curvature is quite significant. There is a 2.44 foot encroachment on the west half of the structure into the setback and platted building line there. We do have a closing application and a partial vacation of action that went before Planning Commission March 13th to also clean this up. So this is kind of the last application that we need to fully correct this encroachment. All other code requirements are met, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Question for you. Did you guys review?
We approved it.
Yeah.
Yes, it was,
Yeah.
or recommended for approval.
And it is just cleaning that up. It was built over the building line. It seems to happen a lot on cul-de-sacs. No one had signed up to speak. Anyone in the audience want to speak on this case? Nope. Is that a motion?
Yeah. I will make a motion to approve case number 15872 on the basis that it meets the requirements for a variance.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Thank you.
And it's approved. Thanks.
Item number 6, case number 15856 is a renewal application by Jordan Valino on behalf of Belmont Investment Partners LLC to allow home sharing short-term rental at 1401 North Drexel Boulevard.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Valino. I'm here on behalf of Belmont Investment Partners. Our address is 12311 Maple Ridge Road, Oklahoma City, 73120. The property we're talking about is at 1401 North Drexel Boulevard. And we are seeking a renewal of an application for an exception to have a house sharing short-term rental Airbnb.
Just a couple of things. This is the first time that this will be done under the new ordinance?
No.
Next?
Next time.
Next meeting, okay. So, just
Jump in.
procedure, yeah. Anything from the board?
No, and this is a renewal, correct?
Yes.
Right.
So,
No one had signed up to speak. Anyone from the audience want to speak on this case? No.
And how many vehicles are you able to park here?
We allow 2 on the listing, and we do have 3 people who work for us that do go check
Okay.
to make sure that that's adhered to. There's space for more, but we just do 2 to keep the neighborhood organized and neat.
And you've got, you're looking for 5 guests?
Yes.
And you've got a pull-out sofa or something like that?
So we have, sorry, I'm trying to think. Yes, we have a king bed, a queen bed, and then yes, a pull-out sofa.
Okay, and you've got a 5-year special exception is what you're looking for. We typically go to 3 years on the renewal as long as there haven't been any issues, which it doesn't seem like there have been. Are you okay with that?
3 would be excellent.
Okay. And then quiet hours, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.?
Yes, we have them listed as beginning at 8 p.m. And I would have to pull up, but I believe that is then till 8 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, it shows the 8 p.m. start time, but if you're okay with us saying till 8 a.m., then I
Yes,
think
yeah,
we're
and we
fine.
can amend the listing, today to clarify.
Anything else? No? Ready for a motion?
Okay. I will make a motion to approve case number 15856 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirements for a special exception with the following conditions: a maximum of 2 vehicles with no on-street parking during quiet hours, and for a period of 3 years with quiet hours from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And you're approved.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Item number 7, case number 15877. It's a renewal application by Karen Williams McClendon to allow home sharing short-term rental at 5808 North Billen Avenue.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Williams McClendon, 5808 North Billen, Oklahoma City. I am here requesting a renewal of my permit for the home sharing at 5808. This will be my 3rd renewal, and I don't believe there were any objections to it this time. I have the quiet hours already of 8 to 8 p.m. My parking, my driveway is very large. It easily accommodates 4 vehicles. I only allow 6 people to stay overnight. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, no sofas, no sleeping on the sofas. Do you have any other questions?
Is there anybody that signed up to speak on this?
No one has signed up to speak. Does anyone from the audience wish to speak on this one? Nope.
It looks clean to me. I will say this is your 2nd renewal. or
Second renewal,
Your 2nd
yes.
renewal?
Second
So the
renewal,
first
yes.
renewal, we gave you 2 years?
The first one, you gave me 1 year. We had an objection from my neighbor, which I believe that I have I've really tried to accommodate all of his concerns.
As evidenced by his absence.
Yeah, so, and then we renewed it at the end of that for 2 years, and so now I'm asking for 3 years. And I monitor it myself. I'm over there all the time, making sure that, nothing's out of order. I have it landscaped. It's, quite frankly, it's looks better than it did when I was utilizing it as a long-term rental, because I am over there monitoring it on a regular basis.
Well, the application is in order, the quiet hours make sense, the number of guests to be accommodated. I'm actually for a 5-year term on the second renewal, so if you guys are, then I would give her 5 years.
Okay, and the only thing I was going to mention is the fact that you applied for it exactly 1 year from when it expired, and so that's why you have a little delay.
Yes.
So next time you come to apply, just because of the staff time
Thank
to
you,
get
I
it
will.
done, maybe, start at 10 months in, and, I mean, it's in 5 years, so better mark
Yes,
that on
thank you.
your
I
calendar.
will mark it on my calendar. Thank you.
So, that, ready for a motion?
Okay, with that, I will make a motion to approve case number 15877 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirements for a special exception for a period of 5 years.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. There it comes. And it passes.
Thank you very much. Have a nice afternoon.
Thanks.
Item number 8, case number 15866 is an application by Khalid Bukhari to allow home sharing short-term rental at 925 Peddlers Lane.
Hello, my name is Khalid Bukhari. I'm the applicant at the property located at 925 Peddlers Lane in Oklahoma City, 73108. I'm requesting a special exception for home sharing short-term Airbnb at the location. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in Wheeler's District. There are other Airbnbs in that area as well, including right next to us to the east of us. We're asking for six residents to be able to stay there. There are bunk beds in 1 bedroom, 2 beds in another bedroom, and a king-size bed in the 3rd bedroom. There's plenty of parking right behind the location. There's a covered spot, and then there's ample parking behind it, including on Runway Boulevard, as well as Wheelers Street and Southwest 17th Street.
Is there anybody signed up to speak on this?
No one had signed up to speak. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this case?
I just had a question. Is the parking, it's not assigned parking?
There's one assigned covered parking, but then there's ample other parking, open parking right directly behind it, and then on the streets to the north, east, and west side as well.
So even the residents rely on off-street parking?
Right, every resident will have at least one assigned parking spot, and then they have an open parking spot and street parking that they rely on.
Heavily relied on if you drive around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I wasn't limited parking on the street in the Wheeler District, just because they all do.
So maybe limit it to 3 vehicles, but don't limit
In
it
the
to
application, yes, I think.
And then quiet hours, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., okay with you?
That's fine.
And then we typically, on a new application, go for a period of 1 year, see how it goes, and as long as it's managed well, and you don't show back up here a year from now with a mob of angry neighbors, then we're likely to give you more time.
1 year sounds good.
With that motion?
Yep. I will make a motion to approve case number 15866 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirements for a special exception with a maximum of 3 vehicles, no other restriction on parking, for a period of 1 year with quiet hours from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote when available. And it passes. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Item number 9 was deferred till April the 3rd. Item number 10, case number 15868 is an application by Home Sweet Home Properties to allow home sharing short-term rental located at 2016 Northwest 45th Street.
Hello, I'm Kelly Basie. My address is 8217 Lakehurst Drive, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73120. I'm the president of Home Sweet Home Properties, and I am requesting a special exception to allow lodging accommodations, home sharing in the R1 Single Family Residential District. This is a 3-bedroom house, 1 bathroom, 6 people are allowed. We have a king in 1 bedroom and queens in the other 2 bedrooms. We do weekly yard maintenance, and we also do tree trimming yearly because there are big trees in the neighborhood and in the house. We do trash can management ourselves. We have a 2-day minimum, and we don't allow parties. We're very specific about that. We have ample driveway parking. We never allow more than 3 cars at a time at the property. So there's never a time that they're ever allowed to have more than 3 cars. I have personally met the neighbors.
Before
Yes,
you
sir.
continue,
Yeah.
I just noticed that the same protest was in this as 9, and I didn't see that before. Sorry.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to defer this?
I can't,
Rather
if I
than-
must, I can. Yes, I understand the
I'm so
situation
sorry.
you all have today. Yeah. If you have to recuse, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was that's okay, no problem. It's good experience for me. Okay, we'll see you next time.
Okay, we'll make a motion to defer to April 3rd.
To April 3rd. I'll make a motion to defer case number 15868 to the April 3rd meeting.
I'll second.
Thanks. We have a motion and a second to defer.
I do have one question. Was someone here today to protest? Had someone signed up?
No,
Okay, thanks.
it was just the letter in the actual
Gotcha.
agenda.
Item number 11, case number 15873 is an application by Jessica and Hosea White to allow home sharing short-term rental at 4116 Northwest 60th Street.
Hello, good afternoon. Libby Ross with Co-host Oklahoma. We are talking about 4116 Northwest 60th Street today. So, here to answer any questions you guys may have about the application.
Questions from the board?
Anybody signed up to speak?
No one has signed up to speak. Anyone from the audience wish to speak on this application?
Your total guest, you're at 10 on this?
I'm sorry?
The total guest to be accommodated?
On this one at 10, yeah.
And can you tell me how we're getting there?
Yeah, they got a large family room and then the multiple beds and then sleeper sofas.
So a sleeper sofa in the living room
Correct.
and, okay. I'm just relying on the little section that lines the bed. It says that there's 3 rooms that have queens or bigger.
Yeah, there's queens, and then I think that in the, there's also a couple of air mattresses that are available just because of the extra large living room space. I think this is their first application as well, so
Yeah, this is.
maybe need to
this
make
is
some
a new
adjustments
one.
on there.
Mhm. Yeah. And we like to do that, especially on the very first application, is kind of maximize the bedrooms, count
Correct.
2 per, and, work from there.
Yeah.
We can definitely make those adjustments.
And how many bathrooms do you have?
Bathrooms on this one, sorry. I think this one was 2. 2 bathrooms.
And how large is the house? What's the square footage of the house?
I don't know that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can get behind 6.
I could agree with that.
Would that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine by me.
And then on your parking, I mean, you could, are you allowing them to utilize the garage?
Yes.
So you got plenty of parking, but I'll say a maximum of 3 cars. Are you okay with that, with 6
Sure.
guests?
Yeah, with 6 people. That's
Okay,
3 cars, 3 couples.
okay. And then 9 hours, quiet hours you got from 9 PM to 7 AM. If we can, I'll go 8 to 8 just to be consistent. I know we've done some different ones, so if that works.
Sure, yeah. I always put the 7 just because of the work crews. They always ask me, like, are we not allowed to go to our car?
Okay.
Term.
New application, 1 year, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Anything else? No? Then make a motion.
okay. With that, I will make a motion to approve case number 15873 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirements for a special exception for a period of 1 year with a maximum of 3 cars with no off-street parking, no on-street parking during quiet hours, with quiet hours to be 8 PM to 8 AM.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote when available. And you're approved.
Thank you. And did y'all say next adjustment meeting is when we're going to be, okay, looking at the new ordinance?
Item number 12, case number 15874 is an application by Zachary and Amanda Gregg to allow home sharing short-term rental at 11104 Spring Hollow Road.
Hello, I'm Amanda Gregg. I own this property along with my husband, Zach.
Could you state your address?
Yes, yeah, well, this address, 11104 Spring Hollow Road in Oklahoma City. Just for a little color for you guys, this is a duplex, and I own both sides of the duplex. I have a long-term renter on one side that's off of Brook Hollow and Spring Hollow. The property in question, the address or the driveway is off of Spring Hollow. So that's the driveway you guys have in the picture. And also, additionally, this home is about 2,500 square feet. So it has 2 levels. The bottom level has 2 bedrooms and a bathroom and a kitchen and a living area. And then the top level is a kind of an open, it's called the loft. So it has a loft upstairs. It has a nook for the master bedroom up there with a bathroom, as well as a generous sort of playroom with a couch and a TV and bunk beds.
Anybody signed up?
We do have someone signed up on this one, Jim Rust.
Sit this so long, I'll put to sleep. My name is Jim Rust, 3300 Brook Hollow Avenue, Oklahoma City, resident of Quail Creek, where this property is. I want to try to bring 3 points to you for your consideration. The first one is the location of this property, which is on a corner. It's a corner of two very busy streets. This proximity to the stop signs is the problem. No matter how many people are in it, no matter how many people are in the duplex next to it, when you start putting parking in the street that close to a busy intersection, you create traffic jams. Traffic jams that can cause accidents because people can't see around the cars as they're coming into or out of the intersection. It becomes a safety hazard, a public safety hazard for safety vehicles, a public safety hazard for any vehicles that are trying to drive through as residents go through. A lot of people go through that intersection. A second consideration is we've already had 2 homes in Quail Creek that have been shut down that were VRBOs, bed baths, that were shut down for being drug houses. I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm sure you won't allow that. But we've already had 2 shut down for that very same reason. We also had 1 property that was rejected by this board, is identical in location to this property here, being on a very close proximity to a corner. It's on a corner lot. It was rejected for the fact of too much traffic and public safety. Third point I'd like to make is, and I'm not positive this even is a consideration, but this is a business for profit in a area zone for residential area. Why allow a business for profit to work in a residential area? I would have brought pictures, but I received this a little bit too late to get pictures in so you could see how close the two different properties are in proximity to each other in a corner. But I can give you those addresses if you choose.
And we do have an aerial of the property, which you see up here.
Would you like to see the aerial of the other address, just FYI? The property that was rejected by the board.
Oh.
Yeah.
Its location, to the corner.
I remember it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I will say, so I agree with you with the proximity that this property has to the stop signs and the potential hazard that could create. However, I don't believe that we will approve, or I'm not going to look to approve this application with any on-street parking. So I think that would take care of that consideration. In regards to businesses operating in a residential area, there has been some changes to the code, and it doesn't apply to this particular application because it was in before those changes took effect. However, if HOAs, these organizations have in their bylaws and in their CCRs language that expressly prohibit short-term rentals, then we can consider that moving forward.
I'll tell you, unfortunately, ours doesn't. Quail Creek doesn't. We've got 7 different covenants in Quail Creek, 17 covenants, and none of those covenants cover that.
Yeah, so
I would bring up one other point if I could, just because you made me think about it. This property backs up to a public park, a city-owned public park. 1,000 feet from this property is an Oklahoma City-owned playground. I don't like the idea of a VRBO with its potentials being that close to a public playground.
Well, and I appreciate that as well, but that is actually outside of our purview, so we can't weigh in on whether or not it can be used as a short-term rental or vacation rental simply due to the proximity that it has to a park. But I appreciate that, you sharing that information. And then just briefly, I'll touch on the other property. It was kind of vaguely public safety, but there were significantly more considerations. And so each one of these is case by case. And so for us, I think we try to, as a board, evaluate either the historical management of the property or the what is likely to be the management of the property in determining whether or not to grant these. And so we would have to have something before us that would show that the operation of this specific property would somehow be a danger in some kind of way. It wouldn't just be due to traffic.
Okay.
You have to come to the podium. And please state your name and address for the record.
Rust, same address. When we bought the house 30 years ago, Airbnbs did not exist. We bought a single family home. There were duplexes, there were apartments, but we already have 4 on our street, 2 around the corner. Can they just come in and buy houses? I mean, is it just going to be an Airbnb takeover?
Which is why, one of the reasons why a new ordinance was written, and it will limit the number that you can have per block. It just doesn't come into effect.
But it doesn't do any good now.
It comes into effect at our next meeting.
At the next meeting, okay.
But to your point about other people coming in, they will face additional obstacles now because they will be subject to that new ordinance, which does limit.
Where do you get the copy of the new ordinance? And I guess this is the first letter we've ever gotten. So now will we start getting more of anybody coming to this board to get approved? This is the first letter that we got.
Well, it goes by proximity. So the notice is based off of a 300-foot radius to your property. So I don't know where your property is in
Only
relation
300 feet?
Yeah, with some exceptions. But yes.
As long as they can get the 10 within 300 feet. And excuse me, but and I misspoke, but there was a moratorium that was in effect for the number of short-term rentals that could be per block. And this meets that right,
Well, there's only
because there's 2 in that block, but
2. Yeah.
Sarah can explain that rule.
Sure.
I just am.
Well, Sarah Welch, Planning Department. So there is a new ordinance that went into effect in February. This application's not under that. But prior to that, the City Council had passed a moratorium on special exceptions. That's what this application type is, that would allow home sharing if there were already more than 10% of the dwelling units on the block being home shared through special exception. Now, what I'm showing on the screen here, that the dark boundary, this is an interesting subdivision because that is technically the block. So on this block, I believe there's 4 dwelling units. However, every block gets at least 1. In order to have 2, you would have to have 20 dwelling units on your block. In order to have 3, you'd have to have 30 dwelling units on your block.
So even though that only two properties still puts you at 25%.
If you do the math, you're correct, it's 25%. However, everyone gets at least 1, and then every block can have at least 1. And then after but then you can't have more than 10%. This one actually was a little bit tricky for us because you can see it's block 106, and just to the east of it is another block 106. Those are in 2 different plats.
Right.
So what staff is doing as the applications come in is as long as we can easily determine that you would be an applicant would be under or over the 10%, we are either accepting or not accepting the application. So everything the board sees, staff has determined that it meets the 10% threshold, either before with the moratorium that was in effect or with the new ordinance now that it's approved and in effect.
Okay.
Okay. Again, we're talking, one side of that duplex is a long-term.
Could you speak up into the microphone?
Yeah, one side of the duplex is a long-term rental. The other side is, the application is for short-term. The long-term doesn't fit into the category if you have one on a block already.
No.
Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll have the applicant come up and answer the questions for you, and we'll determine the off-street, on-street parking availability.
I met Mr. Russ the other day, actually. So it is actually, I think, in your advantage that long-term rental is there, because he's rented with me for 5 years, and he's a great tenant, and he will inform me if I have any issues. And as far as parking and congestion on that street, it is a busy street. I don't deny that. It's a main thoroughfare, but the driveway is very generous. So there's parking, a 2-car garage, and then I honestly think in that driveway you could fit 8 cars. I'm not asking for 8 cars, but they can fit in the driveway. So.
I still have questions on the loft. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing that you intend to have 4 of the guests utilize the 2 bedrooms downstairs, but it's the loft where the remainder of these
Yeah, I can
occupants.
speak to that. So I have a king downstairs, and I have 2 twins in 2 different bedrooms. And then I do have a pull-out couch downstairs as well. And then upstairs, I have, there's a nook that's like a kind of like a master suite area that has a king bed. And then I have a pack and play. And then I also have a bunk bed that it's queen over queen with a pull-out trundle. And then I have an additional pull-out couch. So if I need to reduce the number of guests, I can. But
I think
just trying to serve
probably
families
so.
with
I just want to clear. So that upstairs area, even where you said you have that master nook, that's all still open
It's
to one
all
area.
open, but the way it's set up, there's some kind of like a privacy area for what should be kind of like a bedroom. So, but it's the same size as the lower level of the house, so it's a really generous.
And the house is considered a 4-bedroom?
3-bed.
I've had it appraised different ways. So, to be honest with you, I'm not sure what it would be considered. I've had it appraised as a 4-bedroom. I've had it appraised as a 3-bedroom. So, sure.
So if there's a closet upstairs, it could be
Yeah.
considered a bedroom, but again, I don't know.
There for sure.
And how many bathrooms are in the house?
There's 2 bathrooms.
I'm
It's
probably,
a first time that this is being rented also, and so we try to, be conservative on the number of
I
guests.
totally understand.
There is a protest on it also,
Yeah.
so
I'm at a
8.
max of 8, I'm at a max of 8, so,
8, okay, that's fair.
okay. And I know you've got a long driveway there, but you're okay with 4-car max?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And then we'll adjust your quiet hours from 10 PM to 8 PM.
I saw
on
them.
this. Okay.
New quiet hours.
8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to be sure.
8 to 8.
You guys have anything else?
Term.
Yeah, a period of 1 year is what I would be.
I saw that after I submitted my application, yes.
And make sure that you have the protestants'
Contact.
information and
Yeah,
contact,
I
and they
want
have
to
yours.
Exchange information.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we bumped into each other the other day.
Okay, with that, I will make a motion to approve case number 15874 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirements for a special exception with a maximum of 4 vehicles with no on-street parking, a maximum of 8 guests with quiet hours from 8 PM to 8 AM for a period of 1 year.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Item number 13, case number 15875 is an application by Todd Clark to allow home sharing short-term rental at 3511 North Florida Avenue.
Hi. So my name is Chris Riggs. I am here on behalf of Todd Clark. He's an ER doctor. He was not able to get off today, so I'm here in his place. But I own the house before him, and I'm the one who put the Airbnb together, so I'm intimately familiar with this house. But pretty cool property. It's got over 500 reviews. It's been around 6 years, and we have a 4.96 rating. It is a 3-bedroom house. Originally, it was a 4-bedroom. When the house was renovated, the downstairs master was originally 2 rooms. We took the wall out, made it 1 big room. So it's got a king-size bed. It's got a pull-down Murphy bed that's a queen. So that room will sleep 4. It's really 2 rooms in 1. It's probably as long as this room, width-wise. The upstairs has got 2 bedrooms, both queens. And then in the living room, there is a pull-down Murphy bed, queen as well. So it will sleep 10, and it has slept 10 for 6 years now. Our primary customers at this point, because it's a very popular property, we do a lot of work with Tower Theater for like bands and things like that. So we don't get a lot of new guests at this point. It's really more of repeat long-term customers. But we've got 2 dedicated parking spots, and the street that it's on, there's really no other traffic, so there's lots and lots and lots of parking if needed.
How long, is there anybody signed up?
No one had signed up to speak. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this application? No.
How long have you been operating this?
Over 6 years. February 2019, so we're at 6 years and a month.
There's a code violation from January 2022.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that.
So
This was the first time I ever heard about this, to be honest with you.
It was because there was no special exception.
Okay.
And might be why you're here.
Yeah, well, no.
It doesn't say that there's a history of having a
Yeah.
special exception. If you've been operating this as an Airbnb for 6 years.
I didn't even know this was a thing until we got a letter.
Yeah, and that does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was the first special exceptions? Do you know when they
For
first?
home sharing?
Yeah.
2019 is when we began.
Yeah, I think they told us we missed it by like 3 weeks or something. It was crazy. But yeah, we were early February of 2019. That's when it started.
How many cars can you fit in this drive?
2. It's got 2 dedicated spots. But then you'll see on Florida, there's no houses, and it's a long street. It's probably 1/16 of a mile, something like that. And all of those houses have their own parking spots. So you've got, it's not a problem. It's rare, like, that we get more than 2 cars. Every once in a while, we'll get a tour bus that will park right on the street, but there's no houses there, so it's not really a problem. It's not a major thoroughfare where it's located.
And you said this house has been, it's been remodeled, and so
Yeah.
you took away one of the bedrooms and made the master that's still there oversized.
Yeah, so the downstairs, it's originally a 4-bedroom house, 1,858 square feet. And the downstairs master, well, there's 2 bedrooms. And so it was renovated into like this master suite. It's really pretty cool. But it was so big that half the room, there was just so much space. So we added a pull-down Murphy bed queen. I don't want to say that it's used a lot, but we do get some families with small children that, you know, if they're, it's a big house. Like if they're coming with a family, they may want to keep their kids in the bedroom with them. So I would say, you know, the average, the bands, when they come, they're usually maybe 6 to 8 people, but it can comfortably sleep 10, no problem.
Well, I'm likely to reduce that today, just 1, because of the bedrooms, and then 2, we do have a code violation, and while I understand this is kind of the catch-22, you've got experience operating it, but for us, it's still a new application.
Sure,
So
that's fine.
all of those elements together will yield a lower number of guests.
Okay, that's not a problem.
You guys have any thoughts on that?
No, same thoughts, and the term too. So now that you're in the system and we have a 1-year term on this, when you come back, if it's operating, no problems,
Yeah,
you know, then
I
we
have
can
no issue with that.
look
This
at
is
it again.
this is a long-standing property. We don't have problems with this property. The lady that maintains this house is the next-door neighbor. This is her full-time job, Miss Linda. She's awesome. So I don't have any issue with that because I don't foresee any issues.
So, and then just the standard application changes of the quiet hours and
What are you all's thoughts on guest capacity?
Okay, so please review. How many bedrooms do we really have? I mean, I know, and I'm asking bedrooms and not number of beds.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it was originally a 4-bedroom house.
now it's a
We've renovated it into a 3. But the master bedroom is like 30 by 15. It's huge because it was 2 bedrooms that we took the wall out. So we've got a king in there and then a pull-down queen. But that particular room, like I said, usually the house would sleep 8. That would be the average size we would get. We do get some families that will bring the kids. They'll pull down the pull-down Murphy, but that's not common. I would say our average is 8. I think 8's fair because that's pretty typical for what we get. If we get somebody that pulls down that bed, it's almost always small children, and it's just a parent who wants their kids in the room with them.
And then also to confirm, you've got 2.5 baths in this house, is that correct?
That is correct. It's 2.5 baths, and then the master bath is massive and actually has 2 separate shower stalls. It's big.
I could get behind 8.
Okay.
You can fit 2 cars in the driveway
Yeah.
easily, and I mean, I put 2 more on Florida, like you said. Both the other houses on the ends of the block are on 34th and 35th, and
They're all everything beside us is on corners,
yeah,
and they've got garages, so it's not an issue. But rarely do we get, like I said, it's usually they come in 2 cars. Every once in a while, we'll have a tour bus, and the tour bus won't park in front of the house. It usually parks on the opposite side, on Linda's side. It's her and I. That's it. So she's our housekeeper, so she has no issue.
So you need on-street parking on this?
Only for the bands. You know, if it's a family, we get a lot. I mean, we get a lot of people that are coming for the military, things like that. But it's usually one car. So
Okay,
two cars at the house and maybe one on street.
I'm trying to figure out this picture. It looks like a utility pole is right in the middle of the
Yeah,
driveway.
I kind of hate that. That is an old easement. This house was built in 1929 or 30, and there was an easement there. I have done everything I can to try to get them to move that easement, but they have not. So unfortunately, it is an awful spot. But
But you can still get one car past
You
it.
you can get it, that was.
actually, you can
that
get
was my
two. I mean, you can
question.
get two
Yeah,
cars
I mean, a
past it.
car can get past the hole.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah.
Yes,
no, I
ma'am.
saw
It's
it.
fair. It's fair. It's a fair question.
So we're thinking 4 cars maximum with and allowing on-street parking?
Yeah. On Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'd look at doing quiet hours from 8 PM to 8 AM?
That's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay.
Did I ask if anyone had signed up to speak on this? I don't even remember. But anyone from the audience? No? And there was no one signed up, so.
I will make a motion to approve case number 15875 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirements for a special exception with the following modifications: quiet hours to be 8 PM to 8 AM, a maximum of 4 vehicles on-street parking allowed for a period of 1 year, and a maximum of 8 guests.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Marcus? Don't have a panel?
No. There we go.
Please vote. It passes. Thank
Hey,
you.
thank you all very much. Appreciate that.
Item number 14, case number 15876 is an application by Ryan and Melisha Meredith on behalf of Marcos Montreux to allow home sharing short-term rental at 2100 Northwest 20th Street.
Afternoon. My name is Ryan Meredith. I live in Joplin, Missouri, 2415 East Kennedy Court. I'm here for short-term rental application or special exception for short-term rental for 2100 Northwest 20th Street. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It is over 2,000 square feet, so it's a larger 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. It's recently been remodeled. It has very large bedrooms. There's quite a bit of parking, so there's a front driveway that could fit 1 car comfortably. And then there's a side driveway that is 2 cars wide by 40 feet long. So I'm requesting 5 parking spots for this. I'm requesting guests of 10. How we would fit 10 is a king in the master, that's 2, and then another king in a 2nd bedroom, and then on the oversized 3rd bedroom, we'd like to do a queen with a twin-over-twin bunk, and then a sleeper queen. Our target audience is families with children, so this would make sense for families with young children to have a twin-over-twin bunk bed in that same room. I'm amicable to your quiet hours. We're gonna do our best to be good neighbors. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
Anybody signed up?
No one had signed up to speak. Does anyone want to speak on this case? No?
So on the parking, they are allowed to use the garage?
Yes, they can, but we wouldn't need to for 4 because there's that front driveway which could comfortably fit 1. We wouldn't want to put more close to that stop sign there. But on the side driveway, it's very large and long, so over 40 feet. That could comfortably fit 2 cars deep by 2 cars wide.
So 5 overall.
Yeah, so 5 overall, easy.
And in the application, it states no on-street parking
Correct. We wouldn't need it.
during the quiet hours.
And I will say, downtown Oklahoma City, if you look at competitors of 3-bedroom houses, there's houses that are sleeping up to 12. So to kind of be in line with my competitors in this area, 10 would be feasible.
Until they come here and get their actual special exception.
Yeah. Right.
So we would like to discuss the total number.
Yeah.
Being a new application. It's a 3-bedroom. How many bath?
It's 2 bath.
2 full.
I can go up to 8.
Are we sure?
Yeah, it's a new application. I do think the house can accommodate it, but we want to be consistent, and this is the only argument you could have against consistency here would be less than 8. You certainly won't find the standard of us doing more than 8 on this.
So when my competitors with 12 and 10 come before this board, are they going to get the same consideration as I am?
Yep.
Okay. And what kind of enforcement? I'm just curious how that works for existing.
Code
Is it just when people complain that there's more people than there should be?
Yeah, I mean, right, it would be through code enforcement.
I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about competitors who have 12, 10 guests
Right.
at their home.
Yep.
Like, they only get flagged if someone complains
Someone
about it.
complains. That's right.
Okay.
Yep. And so self-policing or your neighbors. And that's really truthfully all we can go on. And that's why the first time application, we try to be consistent and on the conservative side. And protecting you and protecting your neighbors. A good operation, and we come back in a year, we reconsider.
Okay, I understand.
And
And then just quiet hours, just adjusting that 9 p.m. to 8 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. And so I don't think that we need the 5 cars, but I'm still fine to approve it for a max of 5 cars if you guys are.
If it's.
Okay.
Ready for a motion?
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve case number 15876 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirements for a special exception with the following modifications. Quiet hours to be from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., a maximum of 8 guests, with the maximum of 5 vehicles with no on-street parking for a period of 1 year.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Thank you very much.
Item number 15, case number 15879 is a renewal application by Darren Baroni and Elizabeth Fermento to allow home sharing short-term rental at 1524 North Kentucky Avenue.
Hi, Brendan Caffrey, 2500 Northwest 21st Street. Speaking on behalf of the property owners, I am the property manager. We're seeking to renew our application for short-term rental at the property located on 1524 North Kentucky Avenue. It's a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath property, 1-car garage, and space for 1 car in the driveway.
Any questions? No one did sign up to speak. Does anyone in the audience want to speak on this application? No? Members?
So I will say it looks like you got your renewal application filed in a timely manner. I don't see any protests here. So I'd be inclined to give more time. That being said, with this being the first renewal, go up to 3 years, if that makes sense to you all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And number of guests seems appropriate for the property. And you guys are only asking for 2 cars, and you can fit 2 cars?
Yes.
And you don't need any on-street parking? I think I'm good. Quiet hours, I'll do 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. So.
Anything else? Good? Ready for a motion?
We'll make a motion to approve case number 15879 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirements for a special exception with the following modifications. Quiet hours to be from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. for a term of 3 years and maximum of 2 vehicles with no on-street parking.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Vote when available. And you're approved. Good luck.
Thank you.
Item number 16, case number 15883 is an application by Austin Cohn of 4 Big Properties LLC to allow home sharing short-term rental at 9800 Hummingbird Lane.
Good afternoon. My name is Austin Kane of 2344 Northwest 121st Street in Oklahoma City on behalf of the special exception application for 9800 Hummingbird Lane. I'm glad I'm last. I've had to, this is chilly in here, and I need to warm up as soon as I can get outside. Okay, so we're applying for the application for Hummingbird Lane. I would ask for consideration. Ms. Welch was able to help me out. I submitted the renewal application back in August, and then when I didn't get a notification to get on the docket, I resent it back in at the end of the year to David Cunningham. And then when I didn't hear back from that, I asked Ms. Welch, and she was able to submit it, and we were able to get on the docket within a month. We are asking for 10, we have 10 sleeping arrangements for this house. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,200 square feet. The sleeping arrangements would be 1 queen in one room, 2 queens in another room, 1 king in one room, and then we have a double bed over 2 twins. So that would actually be sleeping arrangements for 11, but we're asking for 10. And then we're amicable to the 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. quiet hours as well. And I think that's it. Open to any questions you guys have.
No one had signed up to speak. I don't think anyone wants to speak.
I did have a protest last time, and I think we've made really good friends with him, and so we've had a good time. And I think his daughter actually has stayed with us since that happened. This home, out of the 18 months that we've had it, 14, we actually target more families that have had insurance claims. So people that maybe have had water leaks or fire damage. And so of the 18 months, 14 months have been occupied by guests that have been placed with us through insurance companies. And so we fill in the gaps with the nightly and the weekly stays, and I think we have 24 reviews, 5.0 stars.
And Sarah, so this application it was timely, or it was?
Kind of.
I'm a little confused there.
Do you want that? Is that, no, something else?
Well, he submitted it on February 2nd. And his term was from August 3rd, 23 to August 24.
I think he made inquiry in August, but maybe it didn't get through. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I submitted it in August, and then it didn't go through, so I tried to follow up, and we were able to get it ironed out eventually.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I don't have exactly with me when his original record of submittal was. The original one would have expired August of 2024.
Yeah, I guess I'm mainly just asking, like, if he submitted it and something got lost in email or some reason, then I'm inclined to give him the additional time and treat it as a renewal. But if it's just simply being submitted in February and we're several months beyond, that's a little bit different.
I will say
Okay.
that I can't confirm nor deny where the miscommunication occurred, but it wasn't, I don't think, his lack of trying.
Okay, that's good enough for me. So. And on the previous approval,
I think we had 9.
we gave you 9?
It was 9 approved the first time, and so I'm requesting 10, even though it has beds for 11. Because that would be I think the new rule is the
4 plus.
4 plus 2, so I was trying to meet within the new guidelines that come into effect next session.
And we're kind of 4 plus 1.
Yeah, I could be okay with it. It's a renewal application. There's 4 bedrooms to begin with, regardless of the sleeping accommodations. So, unless you guys have any strong objections to it.
I do not, and it did have a protest, and he worked that out, so it's been operating. Just a question on the number of cars. Do they use the garage?
They do use the garage. So it's a 36-foot back driveway. It could fit 7. I think I requested 7. I mean, most of the time, we only have 2, 3, you know. It could fit 5 really easily because it's a 3-car driveway. But we've had some of the neighbors try to park in front of our house, and I've had to go over and nicely request if they could not, just because to keep the street, you know, open, not for our guests, but just to keep the flow easily flowing.
It certainly looks like it could fit 7 cars. I don't know if you need 7, but.
Right.
So.
But we will put in there the no on-street parking.
Correct.
Anything else?
Quiet hours, do we talk about that?
He said he was agreeable to.
I'm fine with 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
And then the term?
3 years,
3.
if it appears he attempted, so.
Okay.
It appears that this handout, you know, seems to indicate that he attempted to contact the city, and so I just wanted to state that on the record as well. Okay?
Sorry, I didn't say that. I was just handing that out just to show you guys my attempts.
And I'm affirming that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Ready for a motion?
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve case number 15883 on the basis that it meets the statutory requirements for a special exception with the following modifications: the maximum number of guests to be 10, maximum number of vehicles to be 7 with no on-street parking during quiet hours, and this will be for a term of 3 years.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. And it passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Item number 17 was withdrawn, and item number 18 was deferred until. So we're at the end of our docket.
With that, we're at the end of our docket. Any additional items? No. Communications and reports, board committees, there are none. Anything from the board members? Nope. Municipal counselor? No. No. Citizens to be heard? No. Sarah?
As you've heard several times today, when you get your next packet, it will have a revised staff report that will show you the conditions. There are not very many items for the next hearing, but I would like to ask the board to please really read those kind of in advance and let us know in advance if you have specific questions about any of the items in your docket, because we're all kind of learning together, and what's going to affect you probably the most is a renewal versus a non-renewal and what you can consider in your decisions.
Thank you. With that, we're adjourned.